Hello dear students, this is Rajesh Dadich, your mentor in English for class 12th, and today we are going to learn one of the chapters from your book Vistas, right? Yeah, and the name of the chapter is The Enemy, chapter number 4, Vistas, the Enemy. You know, the Enemy chapter was written by a great and eminent writer of the world, and she was an English writer, and her name is Pearl S. Buck, right? Pearl S. Buck. Let me tell you, she was born in 1893. Nothing is different, everybody is born, right? And she died in the year 1973. Okay, fine. And she just died 2 months before her 81st birthday. Okay. And one more important thing about that, this writer, that though she was born in the USA, in America she was born, but just after 3 months of her birth, she was taken to China by her mom, and since then she was brought up in China only. She got her senses and she got her career, full-fledged career in China only, right? And she wrote about 70 books. She wrote about 70 books, and she was such a great and eminent writer that in 1938 she was honored with the Nobel Prize, one of the prizes, but this is the greatest prize in her contribution to literature in 1938. Okay, and one of her best books, ever shining books, is The Good Earth, and that brought her name and fame throughout the globe, right? This is just a brief introduction to this writer. Now, the enemy. What is the enemy? Points to remember. But before that, let me elaborate a little bit about the title, The Enemy. What is the enemy? The enemy means foe. Who is not a friend means foe, enemy. So here we are talking about the animosity between two nations, right? And the theme of this chapter is illogicality of war. Why wars are fought? Why do we wage wars? What is the significance of wars? Only a few thousands of acres of land or some territory? What? Be it the case of First World War, be it the case of Second World War. What is the significance? Nothing. Only man became enemy of another man, and mankind came into its disastrous form. Got it? So, it is futile. It is just futile to wage wars. The sub-theme of this chapter is just the confusion between two aspects of human life. So, dear students, the sub-theme of this chapter is patriotism and duty. Means there is a confrontation, there is a difference between patriotism. Sometimes it happens that we find ourselves in two aspects. Two ways are there, whether to go for patriotism means loyalty for our nation, or we have to perform our duty, what we have been taught to perform, right? So, the introduction of this chapter is Sadao. Sadao is the main character of this chapter, and the assistant character is Sadao's wife, and the third character is the general. Only these three are main characters, and therefore fourth one is the enemy, means a blonde young American soldier who has been shown as the prisoner of war. So, the whole story views around these four characters only. So, let us have a discussion. Sadao, when he was just a child, he was fond of going to the seashore along with his father, and his father used to tell him that this is the place, dear, this is the place where the whole future of Japan will be written. He used to say, and this sentence was fed in his mind properly. One of his dreams, means Sadao's friends used to say that he would become a great scientist. Some of his friends used to say he would become a doctor, and his father used to say, my son would become not only a doctor but an eminent scientist as well as a great doctor he would be, and Sadao made his dream come true by becoming one of the greatest doctors and scientists of Japan of the time, right. This is known as your duty and your feelings for your father, right. So, let me explain the points one by one. Dr. Sadao, a Japanese surgeon, finds a wounded American soldier on the beach near his house. What happens one evening? Sadao, along with his wife Hannah, they both were standing facing seashore, and all of a sudden they found an American. They found a body, a human body on the seashore. They got curious, and out of curiosity they went over there, and what they found? They found that it was a human, and this human body was lying upside down. That's why they couldn't see the face, but when they turned him upside down again, they could come to know that this was none other than but a wounded soldier was there. And when they cleared his face, they came to know that he was just an American Navy soldier he was, right, and he was looking like a prisoner of war. So, they found he is unable to throw him back into sea, though he was his enemy. Being a doctor, his first duty was to save a life. Now, Dr. Sadao and Hannah, they both were confused what to do with this man who was lying half dead on the seashore, right, and the most important thing was he was about to die if proper care had not been given to him. He was about to die because he was badly injured, badly wounded, right. So, this was a confusion in the mind of both the people, Sadao and his wife, what to do with this man, whether we should send him back, whether we should let him lie over there, or we should take this man into our house and we should give him a proper treatment to survive, right, to bring him round. So, they were confused. Hannah, his wife, though initially reluctant, means unwilling, joins her husband in operating and nursing the enemy soldier back to health. In the beginning, initially Hannah didn't seem to be interested in saving the life of this so-called enemy soldier, but on the insistence, proper insistence of her husband Sadao, she agreed, and they both carried the man into their house and they put him on one of the beds, and this bed was in Sadao's father's, who was no more now, Sadao's father's room, right. Hannah initially was reluctant. She didn't want to serve this person, she didn't want to give her services to this person, but somehow she could agree because of her husband's insistence. It is dangerous to keep the enemy in the house, so all the servants left. Hannah does the housework or household work alone. Means actually the thing is, why was it risky? Why didn't she want to keep this man in her home? So many reasons are there, but basic reason is he was an American soldier, and at that time a war was going on between America and Japan. So, America was their enemy nation. So, was the American soldier their enemy. So, what's the use of keeping such an enemy in a house, right? Let him die. But their duty came first in between, and their duty told them that they had to save this man anyhow, no matter what the citizenship was there. They decided, but they were afraid that their household servants would agree or not, because they were thoroughly patriotic people, right. The general did not send Sadao with the troops, as he is an expert surgeon and the general might need him any time for an emergency operation. Sadao was an army doctor. The question is, why was Sadao not sent on the border to save the lives of millions of people, thousands of people, because war was going on, to save the precious lives of Japanese soldiers, right? This was the question. Got it, my dear students? So, the thing is, the general means one of the great designations in the army. The general of Japanese army didn't want Sadao to go on the front, because Sadao was such an expert surgeon that the general thought that he would require his services any time, any moment and he was in critical of his health, right. So, Sadao was not sent on the border. This is the reason. Now, Sadao and his wife were afraid a little bit. Any time this information, this news might come in open, everybody might come to know that an enemy has been given a shelter by Sadao and his wife. So, what happened? One evening, an army messenger came to their house. An army messenger came to their house. They both got scared. It means this information has been leaked out by the household servants. Then Sadao opened the door, and the army man was there in the form of a messenger, and he was saying, the general has called for you. Called for me? What happened? Actually, he is not well, and he is in distress, and he needs your services. He is in crying need of your services. Then only Sadao and his wife felt relieved. Thank God, we are safe, we are in the safe zone. And he said, thank God. What do you mean by thank God? No. We think that my service is really required. Even general comes to know that Sadao is harboring his enemy. Even general also comes to know that Sadao has given shelter to his enemy. He does not take any action. Yes. This was a crime in Japan at that time, to give a shelter to an enemy soldier in a house, right. But still the general was not in the position of taking any action against Sadao, because the general knew it very well that Sadao was his really helper. He could really save his life. That is why he did not want to take any action, otherwise Sadao would have been behind the bars, and he does not take any action, and suggests that he would send his private assassins. Assassins means hire killers, right, serial killers. So, to kill the enemy and remove his body. He assured him, don't worry about that. I know that you have given shelter to one of the enemy soldiers, but still don't worry, I am not taking action. But the condition is you will have to save my life in return. So, that got agreed. Okay, sir, okay. So, indirectly, this is an agreement between both of us. What? I will save your life and you will save my life. You will save my life means you will not take any legal action against me for giving a shelter to one of the enemy soldiers. Got it? This was just an agreement between the two. So, the things went on smoothly, and Dr. Sadao performs an emergency operation and succeeds. Sadao performs two operations one by one. One operation he performed on that American soldier, and somehow he saved his life. He saved his precious life. Everybody's life is precious, I must say. And second operation he performed on the general's body, and thank God, Sadao was lucky enough, Sadao was fortunate enough that both the people survived, right. Operation was successful. The general promises a reward and saves the life of Dr. Sadao, who was in return helps the American soldier escapes in his boat. For a few days, Sadao waited for assassins to come to his house at night. He was in the opinion that these assassins would kill that American and Sadao would be free from this tension, but despite 2 or 3 days, nobody came at night, and this perplexed Sadao. What happened? But in the end, when Sadao asked the general, why you didn't send any of your assassins despite your assurance? Then the general said, oh, Dr. Sadao, I am really extremely sorry. I just forgot, because I was so ill that I just forgot that I had to send some assassins, but somehow you just get rid of him. You just send him away. This is an indirect suggestion from the general to Dr. Sadao, and so does Sadao the same. And he arranges a boat at night and tells the American soldier that you might go in this boat somewhere, and warship would come over there and you would take help and get away from here. But don't be careless enough. You have to be careful. You don't have to burn any light. You don't have to give any hint or any indication that somebody is there on that island. In this way, you can move. And this is the end of the story. In this way, Sadao got rid of this American soldier, performing both the duties, one duty towards his nation as a patriot and second duty towards his profession, and that is being a doctor. It was his first and foremost duty to save the person, save the person's life, no matter what the citizenship of that person was, right? Because his teacher in America also taught him, anyhow, this is your first duty, means this is the duty, first duty of a doctor, that he has to save the lives of human beings. Thereafter country comes. Got it, my dear students? So that's all with this. This is the summary and essence of this chapter.